Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Another tutorial is in order because people have asked for it. So this tutorial is a little bit similar to the last ones, I'm not sure, because it is about the it's about rigging of clothing. So as you can see, we're starting with what is. I have a scene, I have Genesis to female, I have the clothing fully set up. No, I have used the edit object transfer utility tool to make the clothing a clothing. I think it's a it's a full body. It's a full body suit. So it's edit object transfer utility change to female, and it's a full body. Yeah. And the issue with that is that, for example, if I move the leg, you can see that the fabric is doing the very unnatural physical stuff, and we don't really want that. So one option you always have is expand from selected, grab their full body flow, grab their clothing. Right, we are looking for the right thigh, and then you can move that separately, basically. But this isn't always the preferred way. You can see that this is getting to look really weird. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to rig this clothing. Let me just quickly go back to texture shading here. And restore figure pose. Restore figure pose. And we are going to do so in a similar way than we have before. So step one, we, as before, we have to go into our tools, go into our geometry editor. We have a lot of faces. Let's for the simple part of this, let's delete all the faces that are empty. We will need to make new faces, but it's easier to make new faces from what you see than from than just rename those you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to give the back and the front new new faces and new bones, and we're going to give the chest pieces a new bone, and we're going to give the side a few new bones. So let's start, and we're going to start with the sides, because of the way this is built. So what I can do is I can basically make stuff invisible that I don't want to edit, and what we're going to do is we are basically going to make all the parts invisible that we do not want to alter. Actually, I will need abdomen to a bit, I think. Yeah. But basically, we only want to alter a few things, and we have to make sure we see all of these pieces. Okay, so let's start. I'm in the geometry editor tool. I have polygon selection on. Right click, selection mode will be marquee selection. So basically I'm drawing a square, and everything in the square is then auto selected. This helps a lot if you have a so if you in normal selection mode is drag selection, which means you drag it and you select all the thing you mark, which is kind of problematic because you usually don't get all the pieces you want and you have to re-edit this a few times. Yeah, so I'm usually going with marquee selection here. Also make sure you are about the height that you actually want to work at. This just makes it way simpler than if you would have to work at an angle. Yeah, okay. So first selected. This is the right side of the body, so create face group from selected. Right. Fabric 01. Okay. And we have right fabric 01, and we're going to make this invisible because now first I can see, okay, there's a few faces I may want to get with the drag selection. For example, everything up here, and I want to add that to the face. Also, if I make a face invisible and I use the marquee selection as before, I can't select the invisible faces. So this is basically just a safeguard to shift faces forth and back. Okay. Okay, so we might want to go back to drag selection. And now if you press Control and hold Control, you can add more faces. So in case you ever want to do that, it's not Shift, it's Control. This is something I had to figure out as well. Yeah, but in Hexagon it's basically Shift if you want to add stuff. In Dev Studio it's Control for some reason. Okay, we're going to make a new face group. Right side 02. I'm making sure. Okay. You can just double click this. And rename it if you are not happy with the name. Okay, back to marquee selection. Okay. This is all not really working as intended. Let's see. Okay, so we're grabbing this. We can make this a bit longer. Okay, back to drag selection and basically fill in the blanks. Sometimes it can help if you go to the filament visual, because it shows you basically, if you work with black or something, it shows you the waves and the depth of the object way better. I don't recommend working in iRay mode because it is usually very RAM intense. Okay, create face group from selected, right fabric 03. Okay, we're going to make that invisible as well. Going back to marquee selection. This looks good. Right, fabric 04. Okay, let's make this invisible. Okay, we need to go with the drag selection as well. And drag selection is a thing in so far, so far that if I accidentally like select different faces, it's really a pain in the ass to switch them back. So basically either you say, okay, I'm going to start over with the selection, or you have to later manually make the faces visible, change the faces to other faces, and so on and so forth. So for example, if I have these selected, now I'm making this a face group, right, fabric 05. Okay, not everything. So now if I make this invisible, you can see that like there's a hole, which we don't actually want. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into the marquee selection. This looks, let's make this a bit bigger. Yeah, this looks okay. So now we're going back into the drag selection. We're going to see there I was on the shift button. Okay. Going to grab this one as well, and now we're going to make this one visible. We're going to grab all the vertices that we incorrectly added to the right fabric 5. Now that we're going to make face group from selected right fabric 06. Now watch this number. Yeah, this is the number of faces that are in this group. And if I hit accept, it shrinks. Basically, yeah, what it did is basically it reassigned the faces, which is exactly what we wanted. So yeah, you can manually change that if this occurs to you down the line when you're like really invested time-wise in the project and say, wait, no, this I don't want to redo this from scratch. This is your way to go. Okay, create face group from selected, right fabric 06 end. Okay, I usually do the end so I know that, hey, I'm at the end here. Okay, be invisible please. Okay, and now let's see, one was about this large. Okay, so we're going to by the way, if you lose this, you can control the and then you reselect the faces. Okay, this looks quite good. I just want to see if I can like I want to deselect these faces. So basically, let's make a new face group from selected, which is left fabric 01. Okay. Now we're going to make left fabric 01 invisible. Okay, looks good. And now we are going to okay. So the same trick as I told you before. We're reassigning faces to another yeah, to another face group. Yeah, so if I had known I would have to do that anyway, I would have probably not artificially made that mistake. Okay. That's left fabric group. Okay. And yeah, I'm using the right fabric as some kind of reference, so that they are about the same size each. The first one is a bit bigger on the left side, but that's okay. In the end, in the render, it won't be really visible because we're changing this up anyway. Okay, I'm going to assign the face groups, and then when I'm done with that, I will show you the. No, I will skip through that part, and I will show you the final result before we go to the next step. Okay, I'm done with the sides, and now that I have the sides completely invisible on both, on left and right, I can basically do the same for the front, which means I think I won't need more than, I don't think I need more than 2 here. Maybe 3. Okay. And actually that's the idea of, I could, for example, like make this 2-sided, have left front, right front, or right front, left front, I don't know, which would give me the option to bend this individually, which is probably a good idea. So what we're going to do is we are going to first divide them into front and actually let's start with the back one. Let's do the back so we can get this out of the way. Okay, this looks a bit better. Okay. Back one, because I usually don't render my models from the back, you won't really see it. So I can just be a bit lax with the back. Back 02, okay. Back 03 and okay. So now that we have this visible, we can work from the front. So actually let's make this very simple. Okay. Front 2. And that's actually what we need as preparation. So now that I have the front divided, I can just grab this part, face group from selected, front, zero, 3, this is the left side. Wait, it's the left or no, right side. Right and accept. Okay. Now this is obviously wait, Okay. Okay, this is face group from selected. Front 03 L and okay. Okay, and they are evenly divided as we can see. Now we're going to grab 2 and we should be able to grab half of that. I think that's half. Yeah, looks good. So okay, traffic selected, front 02. This is the left side. Okay. Now this is by conclusion then the right side. And they are almost identical by size. I don't know why they're not, but that's okay. So now we're going to do a little bit more in the detail. We are going to grab a bit of, so right now we are in okay, we want a piece of front 1 to this, so we are going to the drag selection and we want this to be triangular in this case. And now we're going back to marquee selection because we can. Okay. Assign selected faces to group. Okay, this looks good. Let's make this one visible. And we are in drag selection again. We are going to, yeah, it's not perfectly even, but for the demonstration this is fine. Okay, and we are going to assign these to this group. Okay, why is very simple, because this is the area I don't want to move too much. So if I, for example, move this front to L or front to R, it doesn't really matter. Then wait, what? Oh god, what's, oh, okay. So all of this and all of this has to go through the L. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, this is better. And all of this has to go here. Okay, and that's, yeah, that's better. Okay. I want the front to have one piece that is then divided into two, so I can move them better. Okay, but we're not done yet. We still have to do the part on the chest, but we actually can like remove a few other now empty groups yet now, because we don't need them anymore. They are empty. Basically everything on the leg we just removed. So we still have the hip, and we still have the abdomen. But right now we are looking at the pectoral. So this is everything that is moved with the breast. And we want to subdivide this and basically give it the option to be a little bit flappy. So I have my key selection. Okay, so we are not going to go overboard with this. We're going to grab this. We're going to make sure we're going to zoom in, because I don't want to make sure I didn't accidentally grab the chain as well. And okay. Yeah, so you basically have to look around that you don't accidentally have like a piece behind it that you grab with it. Okay, this looks good. We're going to create face group from selected, pectoral X for extension, because it helps me figure out what I actually did here. Okay, so other side as well. Okay, let's try that again. This looks much better. Okay. Become selected. Pectoral RX. Okay. And then we are basically set up with the face groups, which is part 1. So next we are going to look at the structure of this. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to change to the joint editor, going to the parameters, and we are going to go into display. We're going to say show me all the bones, because now we can see where the bones of this object are set up. You can see the outline, and we know that we, for example, don't need all these bones. So I'm going to delete the toes up to the, so I'm leaving the thigh bones, but I'm deleting everything below them. Because I want a very simple structure here, and the more stuff I have, the more stuff gets complicated and weird. Okay. Yeah, so by deleting bones, the whenever you delete a bone, this automatically jumps to the corresponding parent bone, which means at the beginning I have to just jump a bit far and front and back. Okay, no more shins for you. Okay, neck. We don't really need a neck bone. On On the other hand, we don't really have a problem with keeping it. We definitely don't need forearm bones because there's absolutely nothing that is connected to these, but we're gonna keep the shoulder bones. So it's usually a good idea to keep bones that you might not use. I mean, you probably don't need the shoulder, but you don't know that for sure. And I'm pretty sure that at least part of this, yeah, you can see here. If I hover over the bone, you can see that part of the metal is controlled by that bone. So if you remove that, it will look weird and it will clip and it will be completely it will break. In extent it will break. Same goes for the neck. I mean there's probably okay, so left shoulder is actually empty. I don't see anything. So this is the collarbone. Let's grab those. This is the collarbone. So actually the shoulder I could probably remove because we can see that it is yeah, you can see that there's nothing to the shoulder bone, but I'm still leaving it just in case. Yeah, same for the neck. Yeah, just in case there's something I don't see or something I'm overlooking. But yeah, we're gonna leave it. Okay, so we're gonna add some bones of our own. We're gonna start with the pectoral. So where's my pectoral bones? Wait. Chest, neck, right, left. Okay, there they are. Okay. Everything's fine. Okay, so we're going to add a create child bone. Right pectoral extension. We're going to YZX because the rotation order of the body of genital female is YZX as well. Now we're going to left pectoral, create child bone, left pectoral extension. And now, before we go any further, we're going back into our tool settings. Going to grab the right pectoral extension, and now in the joint editor we can have a selection group option, which is currently none. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the right pectoral extension to this one. So now that the bone is actually set up as intended. And what we're going to do as well is we're going to align the bone directly with the mesh, so we don't have to like walk through the whole structure 3 times. So after pectoral extension, we're going to set the pectoral left extension. We're going to move the bone and right down here. This is a bit laggy because this takes a lot of CPU and RAM, but this is fine. Okay. Now let's do the front because it's fun. Actually, let's do the back because it's way faster. Okay, so so we're going to check the pelvis, and you can see where the pelvis ends on the mesh, which is perfect because we actually want to add everything we have to the pelvis bone. Okay, so create child bone. Back 01. If you press tab, it just auto fills bone label. So just every time I basically every time I fill in the first thing, yeah. So basically just type back 02. I press tab, then it fills the bone label by default with the same name, which is fine. Actually, I forgot something. We're going back to the geometry editor and we're going to make all our faces visible because we need them. Clickety, clickety, clickety. You as well. Thank you very much. Okay. No more empty faces. Everything is fine. So back to joint editor. Now what did I forget? I forgot to actually assign the bone, so it starts over here. Okay, I'm sorry, this was important. And we are going to set up bone number 1. We are going to set up bone number 2, and you can see that the bone is not really aligned with where we actually want it to be. Which is okay, so the bones are not in the right angle. We can fix that in a second. First I'm gonna finish the back. Create child bone back 03. Okay, and now we are going to align all bones, and you can see that the bone alignment is just moving into the position we want it to. Okay, let's see now if we can move. This is a bit. This is too much. Okay. Wait. Going to move this end a bit in. Okay. Line all bones. Tick. Okay, we need to move. Why? Okay. So yeah, align all bones. And this looks good. So far, at least. Okay, let's do the front. And I'm gonna show you a neat little trick. After I assigned this bone its thing. So, we're going back to the pelvis bone. Create child bone. Front 01. And now we are going to assign this the front 01. And you can see that it immediately highlights the now assigned selection, which is perfect because we will now we can directly align the bone with the mesh without too much trouble. Okay, let's see if I can reduce the load by going back to texture shaded. Not really. Okay. Doesn't really help. This is really not fun, let me tell you. Okay. Hello. Thank you. Okay. And we almost have the first bone aligned. Ta-da! Okay. Create child bone, and now this is getting interesting because we have front O2 L. Okay, and you can see that the child bone is the start of the child bone is where the parent bone ends, which is kind of what we want. Okay, let's assign the area, and now we're going to do a little trick. We're going to translate the center bone, the start point, a bit up, which is a bit weird and will do a bit weird things, but it's okay. And the end will be down here. So the best way is to actually grab the points, but as soon as you have to like switch a different switch in 3 dimensions, this is going to be blah. So I usually try to keep it to 2 dimensions so I can work with the point easier. So now we're going back to no. We're going to add a child bone, create child bone, front 3L, and y that x. This one, thank you very much. I'm going to move this way down here. It's okay if it's a bit overextend. This is fine. Okay. Now we're going back to 0, 1. Create child bone. Front O2 R. Y that X. Going to move. Wait, before I move this up, I should maybe add the selection group so I actually see what I'm doing. Okay, and create child bone, front 3 R end. And again, since we're already at 44 minutes, I'm going to skip the part for the sides and just be with you whenever I'm done with that part. Okay, since I'm already on it, when you move the bones, sometimes the whole thing moves and shifts. Don't worry about this, it's fine. As you can see, I've actually deleted the thigh bones because they were in the way of me working. So yeah, but sometimes the fabric behaves really weird, especially if you remove bones that it needed to work out where stuff is set. So don't worry about that. This is normal and it still works perfectly well. Nothing is broken. Just keep on doing, and you will be perfectly fine. Okay. The figure is set up, as you can see. And now we're at the not so fun part. So we need to actually define how the skeleton, the bones, are moving the mesh. Yeah, so this is fun. Here is what we are going to do. Here's how this works. We have a node web map brush. As you may have seen, sometimes I have right-clicked, wait, editing, fill by bone selection group. That means don't do that. Don't do that. What it does is basically it assigns the mesh to the bone and says whenever the bone is moved, move the whole mesh that is with it, and this works quite okay. But there's a few things with it. Namely that whenever you do that, it creates a distortion in the mesh. And you can see that we already have like this brush tool. And the interesting thing is, if you scroll closer, the brush tool stays the same side. So if I'm working very far away, the brush works on a different area than when I zoom in. Just so you know. So what we're gonna do is first we're gonna make the bones invisible. Wait. Show bones off. Okay. Thank you very much. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the actual thing, and now we have to apply the weight maps. We're going to do tool settings, and you can see that, for example, if I grab the color, you can see that there's different colors. There's blue and there's red. Blue means it moves a bit. So basically, whenever the color of this object is moved, everything red is moved relatively strong, while everything that is blue is moved relatively weak, and everything that is gray is not moved at all. So basically everything that's gray is not influenced by whatever this bone does. Yeah, so for example, color moves this, shoulder moves a lot more. If I'm going for the right pectoral, you can see that this is the core area of the pectoral. This is what is moved by the pectoral at large. The other stuff is also influenced by it. Actually, let me I want to deselect this. Okay. So I actually have a better view of what I'm working on. Okay. Not very much. Okay. And we can see that in the right color we have nothing. We have like nothing is influenced by anything. And you see that this is very even. This is very even. This looks very cool. Very good. So no, wait. The outer radius is 70. The inner is 35. We're going to make our tool a bit bigger. Actually, let the outside 80. Okay. And we have a sensitivity. So basically, what this does is I when I paint on this, it will add the color that I show is basically is applies weight mapping, and we can draw this on this, so we can basically draw on this. Okay, and I'm gonna show you how it works. So basically, you can see that I'm applying a lot of blue here, and this is terribly laggy for some reason, which isn't really cool, because usually this works a lot smoother. So I might have to restart my PC before we go on with this, because I will definitely make an accident. Okay, and if I paint, so we have a sensitivity of 0.0. That basically means 100% means full red, and 0% means nothing. So basically he applies blue. And if I paint over this, you can see that this is slowly getting more reddish in some areas, very slowly. So basically this is what we're doing. We're going to paint this. And I'm going to restart my PC, and hopefully we have a better workflow then. First I'm gonna save this scene. I can save this as a new scene, which we need a new folder. Rigging clothing. Okay, and we save this, and I'm going to see you guys after a restart, hopefully with this working a bit easier. I'm going to go to texture shaded as well. We're going to save this again, so it saves the texture shading, in the hope that this will help with the problem. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit, and then we'll finish this tutorial. Okay, let's see if this works better with a restart. Yeah, it's better. It's definitely better. So you can see that some parts get reddish, some part gets blue, and we want to have the so we need to make sure that we don't accidentally, like for example, paint the chain in the background. This is basically the hardest part of this, is make sure you only paint what you want. Okay. So what we want to go for is basically everything down on the flaps will be reddish, and everything up the flaps will be blue, which is what we're currently going for. And this just means, I can put the sensitivity a bit higher, but I wouldn't mess around with that too much, because you can pretty quickly screw that up. So we're going back to 0.3 actually. Yeah, you can pretty quickly mess up this process, so a lot of saving is recommended. Where's my hello? I don't know why this sometimes happens. I can actually not really tell you why sometimes the cursor thingy is just gone. Okay, I think we can work with 0.5 here. The very end. Yeah, we want this nice and red. And what will happen is that your whole thing will most likely crumble at some point. This is a very complex thing. So yeah, I haven't fully so for example, this was a fucking mistake. Yeah, luckily you can use Control V to fix minor stuff that happens. But yeah, it's not really that great. And my mouse is gone again for some reason. Doesn't like the... Oh, I have an idea why. No, actually I don't, because I'm actually... I set all the faces correctly, so this shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, this is a whole process in itself, which takes a lot of time and effort and endurance and the mental kind of endurance. I'm short of the word, I'm sorry. Okay. But yeah, try to find a workflow that works for you. Okay. You can already see that there's stuff working weird. You can see that the mesh here is breaking apart for some reason. Because some of this stuff is probably still tied to the... Yeah, you can see that it is still tied to the chest in some parts, which we don't want. We want this fully part of the pectoral piece. But yeah, this is what will happen. Like, let's just quickly and at least the whole mesh is actually linked to this, so it's fine. Okay. And yeah, we're gonna do this for basically all the pieces that we worked out. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, so I just jumped to the next part, which I shouldn't do. So, damn it. Yeah, you can see that I accidentally marked something down here, which is absolutely not what we want, because now if I move the right pectoral, if I leave this unchanged, it will move parts of the mesh over here. So this is really a very delicate process, which will take a lot of time. So right now I just edited the X rotation, and actually want to have the Y rotation and the Z rotation as well. So we have to do the whole painting process again. And you can see that I probably should go back to 0.3 sensitivity to just be sure and apply this correctly, hopefully without screwing over my other parts this time. But yeah, this is basically this is weight mapping, and weight mapping isn't fun. Weight mapping is tedious and it takes a long time, and I will until I finish the publicity a few hours. So yeah, I will finish the tutorial after I finish this piece here, because having you sit through the whole thing is not really feasible for anyone. Okay, so we're going back to 0.5, and we're going to yeah, just paint the lower flaps here. You can already see that the mouse is behaving weird again and is disappearing whenever I don't want it to. Which is not what we want to work with. So yeah, great thing, great process, takes a lot of time. But yeah, this is how you basically do clothing rigging correctly with all the whole I can see that I painted over there as well, so I have to later rectify that or not. But yeah, this is why you usually only see very tight clothing in a desk, because rigging, like a dress or something, like a ball gown or something, is hours of work, like probably even days of work, if you want to do it like perfectly. So it's not really feasible in any way to do this if you don't have a lot of time on your hands, or if you're getting paid for it. But yeah, this is basically yeah, this is clothing rigging. This is the part that I basically had to show. I'll probably shorten this whole video down because this is a lot longer than expected. I mean, not expected, but intended. Okay, so we have 2 rotations down, we have X rotation down, and we have Y rotation down. Now we're going to the Z rotation. And then I will show you another neat trick before I'm finishing off this video. Okay. Great. Or not. 0.5. Let's go back up again. And we're going to make all of this very, very red. And I mean, I could probably make the neck and the collar invisible and hope that chest invisible, okay, and hope that this helps. I mean, it helps a bit. But not much. Okay, there's my mouse again. And this is yeah, fiddly and My bad. So, yeah, so this is the whole process. Or most of the process is just like, screw it, let's go. By the way, if you set this to 1, which we will do in a second, okay, let's just check the chest, just in case. See, the problem is if you make this invisible, it still takes over, so actually making this invisible is not a good idea, usually. But this is just for demonstration purposes, so yeah. Okay. Actually, in reality, I wouldn't probably do the upper flaps. I just would do the lower flaps, and yeah. But this is a good example as well. Okay, scale weights. Let's check the scale weights on this one, and you can see they're also colored. And yeah, we're gonna put some 0.5 scale weight on the whole thing. Bloop. And then I'm gonna show you what we actually did. Because right now this is all very theoretical and not really with any practical application. Okay, whatever, good enough for the example. Okay, so Genesis to female, hello there. So we're going to grab our thingy here, and we're going to pose the booba a bit, and you can see that this like moves the whole thing as well. You can see that there's still so these artifacts here, these artifacts are because my my painting is really is not perfect. So this is basically due to me painting really badly. So yeah, this is something you will have to see, and you will have to then work out. For example, let's go back to the left vector extension, to the node red map brush. Okay, so it's not the red, it's, so you can see that, okay, this is blue. So apparently I didn't get a few pixels, and if I now paint on the tip of these pixels, I can then fix these mistakes later on. Yeah, you can see that basically, okay, this is going from red to blue, so this is the issue. And you can see that, for example, this spike here, this little spike right here is not is fully red, so it's a different rotation that is messed up here. So it was the X rotation. Sometimes you just have to like try. So this is also X rotation, probably. Yeah. Okay, and you can see that this is also messed up here because my setup isn't really that good and that detailed. And you can see that if I paint over this while this is moved, it gets into place. So basically you can just move it out of place and then slowly make sure that it's shaped correctly. By the way, you can't I can't paint on Genesis to female, so you can actually make Genesis to female visible and everything is working a-okay. Okay, last thing I want to show you before we jump off the video is the posing. So if I go to the left pepper, up, down, oops. I want to grab her right pectoral. So I have up and down. I have side side. I have twist. However that works. I am not sure. Okay, let's all that to 0. And I have the same for the right pectoral of the clothing. I can move this up and down independently of Genesis to female. I can move this to the side as well. And I can twist this as well. The thing is, the right pectoral extension can do the same. I have rotations here, which are the same. So basically this is front and back. So I can just go into the settings, parameter settings, and label this as front back. So now I have the front back here, and I know, okay, this moves it front and back. And you can actually see that if I move this front and back, that the fabric that I painted earlier also is moved, which we don't want, but whatever. So this is parameter settings. Hello, this is rotation, and then this is obviously left and right. So we're going to call this left, right. And another cool feature is I can, for example, say, okay, I can move this. Hello? I can move this a lot. And let's say, let's take front and back. Let's say I want to limit how much back this goes. So I set it to a minimum of this. And now I'm always in the, okay, actually, no, I want this to, wait. I want this to be 0 and this to be the max. Okay, so now I can just move this in front, and I can't move it back, obviously. So you can even edit your parameters when you're doing this. What you want to do at the end, if you've done and painted everything and are completely full, you grab the full body flow. You're still in the Node-RED map brush. You are going to the nope. You're going to the joint editor. You're going to say memorize figure rigging, so that the bones that are set are memorized, that the structure of the bones is memorized, that the weight of the bones is memorized, and then you're gonna save it. But yeah, this is the last step. So yeah, if you want to set this up, this is how you like rig clothing in detail. Why is there something missing? Did I make some? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is a whole thing, a whole process in itself. I hope this video helps you in your own endeavors, and if you have any more questions, let me know in the comments, and I will see to helping you out with however I can. Thanks for watching, and see you guys around.